So I know these skates are not the Twister XTs, which I have skated, as you can maybe tell. In fact, I've skated them enough to rotate the wheels twice so far. But I still want to skate in them. So please await the review. They will come. What I will say, because I think most people, they honestly just want to hear how it's fitting. I measured my foot in the afternoon, as they typically tell you. I get about 27.8 centimeters, and that's a little bit above the US size 9 for the Twisters, but I went with the size 9, and it fit very well. So I would say true to size. Now, if you're close, like 27.8, 27.9, sort of like that, make a judgment call. I felt if I went a size up, they'd be too big. And as you'll hear about the comments on these other skates, I wanted to make sure the toes didn't have too much space. So I went with something that was a little bit smaller, arguably, but they fit very well. So I would say maybe if you're like on the fence, size down, but otherwise they're true to size. So whatever shoe size you normally wear, that's probably accurate. Now, onto these skates. These were the skates that started it all for me. Well, I guess technically they were rental quad skates at the roller rink, but these have been very kind to me. I've owned these for about a year, and I bought them online, and I've since replaced some stuff, as you maybe can tell. We'll talk about that. This is the Rollerblade Zetrablade, and it's kind of their entry-level skate. They have their Blade Runner series, which there's a pair of skates that they make that's even lower cost than these. I didn't really know about that, but looking at them, they're really ugly. And I was looking at the Formula 100s from the Blade Runner line, and I thought those were really cool, but I decided against it, which I think might have been a good idea. Those are 100 mil tri-skates, but they're like budget tri-skates. I'm sure they're fine, but honestly, I haven't seen anybody review it, and I've seen some places discount it. I've seen it as low as like $110, which is funny because these days go for $130, unlike when I bought them. I will say for $130, they may not be the best value. You can probably get some other skates that are better, like Play Life Aztecs or something like that. Or even spend a bit more money and get something really nice. But one thing I've noticed compared to when I was buying skates a year ago, there are a ton of used skates in this kind of $100 price point rec fitness skate that are available online used. In fact, when I was looking, there were, like for Zetrablade, for instance, there were like none available. Now I can go online and regularly find Zetrablades in all types of sizes used sub $100. So I wouldn't go out of my way to buy these brand new. You probably should buy them used. And a lot of them are in great condition, so it's not like you're getting something that has been thrashed, like these, for instance. But let's get into the skate. So it is kind of a recreational entry-level skate. It's a soft boot, and it has an integrated frame, non-removable, non-adjustable, and again, the boot, it's just a boot, so there's no liner to take out. So that has some downsides. You can't adjust it. If the frame were to ever crack or break or whatever, there's really not an easy way to fix that. If you put a bunch of holes in the toe, for instance, you can't just replace that boot or replace the liner. So, in terms of a longevity standpoint, it's not the best in the world. But then again, I've seen tons of skates just like this from many eras ago that are still skating today. So they will probably last a long time. But as far as if you're going super hard, something like the Twister, for instance, where you can basically replace anything on it, the liner, the boot, the frame, and a bunch of the hardware, like the bump pads, the straps, that might be useful. Here you don't get that. But the upside to that is they are far less expensive. And yes, you can get hard boots that aren't $300, like the Play Lifes. But generally speaking, soft boots are always going to be cheaper. A definite is that they're going to be lighter, unless you're talking some of the super high spec, like carbon fiber boots. But those are costing several $100s. Usually they start around $650 or something, and they can easily go up from there depending on, you know, what you get. But for around $100, you're getting a shoe that, or a skate that's otherwise very light, and that's nice when you're kind of just cruising. And because these are both the same size, I definitely notice a difference. These are really nice to just kind of go around in. Doing jumps, I can do jumps in them, nothing too crazy, especially because I don't want to crack the frame, but these are not that bad. And they're great for kind of just getting into roller skating, learning how to balance, and then when you want to pick up some speed, do some stuff, and then you can go from there, of course. So let's just look at the design. So again, integrated boot with the frame. Frame is all plastic with, you know, some metal hardware. So inside, it's padded basically from the ankle back. The whole front section is actually unpadded, and that's something I didn't really like as I skated in these. And these skates particularly, I would recommend, unless they're really tight, which for me, they're sort of weird, and I guess we'll talk about that. The bottom, where your foot actually touches it, I find it was too narrow. And in the top, I found there was too much space on the top compared with the top of my foot. And so over time, and we might as well talk about the laces, they're kind of different. They're a like a polyester sheath, but they're filled, so it's like a cylinder. These slip quite a bit. You can do some knots to really tighten it down like a taut line hitch, but even with that, these will loosen up even after like half an hour. And so if you want to maintain the fit half an hour, you probably should, you know, retie it. But I would notice that my toes would get crunched, and, you know, my whole foot would move forward and crunch my toes, and that was really uncomfortable, at times painful. And so that would force me to stop and adjust it. Again, not something you notice early on, because usually your whole body and your legs and your feet hurt because you're not used to balancing. But once you get used to that, you know, motion of balancing on four wheels, that's something I noticed immediately. Without that padding, with all that space and it loosening up so much, my foot would crunch up in the front. Again, if you adjust it, not a big deal. But that's something I noticed. And that's why I wore cushion socks with these in particular. In the twisters, I can go either way, I would say. But these, I preferred cushion socks, because having that cushion in the toe made a big difference. Also, the insole, I'll probably pull it out for you. It's nothing, it's even, well, actually, the one in the twister, actually, it's not that bad. But these, not only are they unpadded, they're unsupportive. As you can see, there really isn't anything substantial here. Now, one benefit, it's very dense foam, so it's not going to just completely flatten out, but it's not going to do anything in terms of cushioning or support or anything. So it's basically just there because underneath it is a plastic, smooth, well, not smooth, but pretty slick plastic piece, and actually that comes out too. I won't do that here. I have skated on those before, because I took out the insoles one time cleaning it, and I was like, oops. I didn't want to go back home just to put on insoles, so I skated in it, and that was fine. I didn't really do anything too crazy, but the insoles aren't great. They're enough to get by. I would say if you're skating long hours in these, you'll probably want some different insoles. I found cushion socks was fine for me. I don't mind a bit of foot discomfort, because I usually didn't notice it. So yeah, that was one thing I noticed, but overall the skates are comfortable, and I think it makes up for the things I mentioned, because it is a fairly lightweight skate and it's somewhat wide. You know, it kind of works itself out in a way, I guess. So up to like 2-3 hours, you probably won't notice it, but if you go past that, you'll definitely notice the things I mentioned. Now, the closure system, you have a strap at the top. It's a bit more simplistic than the one on the twister. There's no locking mechanism on the latch. It just kind of slaps here, but on the other side it does click in. So you stick the strap in to here, and then you have a release buckle. You just press it down in, and it will release. These are replaceable. They come in a paired kit. So if you like shred these, you can replace that. And again, you can trim this if you find it's too long. Actually, that's something I should do because I usually have to go pretty far on these, unlike the twisters. So I probably should trim these, but I haven't had an issue in a year, so I guess it's not a big deal. As you can see, I've taken some hits on it. It's a metal bracket with a plastic latch, so nothing too crazy. Strap on the ankle, it's Velcro, or I guess hook and loop. It's probably not Velcro considering the quality. I've shredded these quite badly. Actually, I should show you the other one, the right skate, because the right skate is really bad. The right skate, I've pretty much torn it, sliding out, and as you can see, the I forget what you'd call this, but this metal piece, it's kind of torn out from the webbing. So these actually don't secure very well anymore, and partially because I've also shredded the webbing, not webbing, but the strap here. So I've kind of taped it up, but that could probably do some sewing, some glue. But it's fine. It's not a big deal. So that's maybe one downside to the design. I would say Rollerblade should probably make that, like put this, I don't know, because it's kind of in an odd place. I would probably put it somewhere up top, this piece, so that way, I don't know. It's not the best design, I guess. It's fine, and honestly, most people probably won't have an issue, unlike me, who's doing downhills way too fast, too early, but it is what it is. But they're fairly durable, and you know, for the amount of crap I've put these through, within reason, I think it's fine. That's the closure system. You have a top strap above the ankle, laces, and then strap at the ankle. It's nowhere near as good as the twister, but it does its job, and it's definitely lightweight. It's a lot easier to get on too, but it's not as secure. You have to adjust it every once in a while, and it's nowhere near as durable, but it is what it is. Frame, again, it's plastic. It's pinned. I wouldn't say riveted. It's just pinned in a few places. But I've had no issues with it. It seems plenty durable too, which is nice. It's limited to 4x8 or 4x80, so you can do 80 mil max wheels. So these also come with a brake. I took it off after 2 sessions. I couldn't do it, but it does come with a brake attached by default. So it also comes with Allen keys, so you can take apart, or I'm sorry, remove the axles and replace the wheels and bearings. That's really the only like main thing you would change other than the strap, but that's more of a repair rather than maintenance. So as you maybe can tell, these are not the stock wheels, and as a matter of fact, it doesn't have the stock bearings. It comes with like the Rollerblade standard wheels and Rollerblades SG5 bearings. Now I will say both of those, while they're nowhere near as good as these, and we'll talk about that, they are good enough for entry-level stuff and arguably for the rest of your life. The SG5s aren't that bad, and the wheels are pretty grippy, so you can get by with those. But I've upgraded them considerably. In fact, between all the upgrades I've made and just the wheels and the bearings, I think I've doubled the price, if that makes sense. Like, the amount of money I spent on the wheels and bearings is enough to accommodate the price of a brand new Zetrablade. Or pretty close to it, anyway. At least the price I paid, maybe not the current price. But these are the hydrogens. I don't really need to introduce those, I don't think, but they're much harder, a lot more durable. I find they provide much more vibrational dampening. I think they're better wheels. But the 82A standard wheels are great. They're super grippy, and they're not too expensive, too. And in fact, you can get a set wheels and bearings. I don't know about spacers, but wheels and bearings for like $35, I think. So if you completely thrash the ones I have, which I actually left them elsewhere. I forgot about them. I should have shown them because they're super chewed up. But if you completely thrash them, you can replace it, and it's not too expensive, but I've done so here. And this just makes it a lot faster, a lot smoother, a lot more comfortable too. So that's it. I guess final thoughts. These are great entry-level skates. Are they the best option in the world? There are arguably better skates out there, like the Playlife Aztecs. There's some FR skates, like you could get FR X's. They're more expensive, but they're really nice skates. And if you don't like it, they're pretty easy to resell. Power Slide has some great skates too. And again, Rollerblades Blade Runner series has some cheaper skates, but these are really good. Again, you can find them used. Main thing here, I found that they just loosened up too much, that it got a little bit uncomfortable in the toe box, and it's not the most durable with the securing, if you will, with the straps. But these are good skates. I have no complaints, so take that as you will. I do still skate in these because as much as I like the twisters, sometimes I just want to kind of slip in my feet and have something that weighs less. These are definitely lighter, and they're great for going on like trails or on like smooth sidewalk. But definitely, I would say the twisters, I just like overall better. The fit, man, we'll talk about the fit more in the future review, but the fit makes such a difference. Is it worth $300? We'll talk about it. Even still, I still skate in these because they're still good. They're comfortable. I might change the insoles, but honestly, between what I've done already, they're like amazing as is. And because they're my first inlines, I can't really, just for the sake of nostalgia or whatever sentimental value. So yeah, this is just a minor review once I do some more skating in the twisters, but until then, hopefully this kind of gives you some insight into my perspective. Also, I got these in size 9, so these are the same size as the twisters, but totally different fit. All right, thanks.